The airport experience is changing fast, which is why in today's video, we're breaking down the 8 most common airport mistakes that you need to avoid the next time you fly. The first major airport mistake would be to rely solely on a digital boarding pass. You should absolutely check in online during the 24-hour window before your flight departs and have your boarding pass available in the airline's app on your phone and also in your email. However, when you get to the airport, take one extra moment to stop at a kiosk and print a backup boarding pass. Here's why this is so important. Phone batteries die at the worst possible moments. Internet connections can also be spotty, and you might not be able to access your digital pass. Even if you take a screenshot of your digital pass that you can access without needing the internet, some boarding pass scanners at the airport just struggle with certain phone screens, and it will require you to have a physical pass. And if I haven't convinced you yet about the benefits of having both a physical and a digital boarding pass, there is also one sneaky additional benefit that most travelers don't even know about when it comes to using these kiosks at the airport. When you print your boarding pass at the airport, you can usually see an updated seat map based on who has actually checked in for the flight. This is the perfect time to swap your seat and snag a better seat that might not have been available when you originally checked in online. Let us know down in the comments if you use a physical boarding pass or a digital boarding pass, or both. This tip recently saved me when I tried to board a flight from Bangkok to the US, and then my phone decided to do a random iPhone update, and maybe I pressed a button, I don't know, but either way, it was rebooting while I was trying to board the flight. Having a printed boarding pass meant that I could get onto the plane with the rest of my zone instead of having to wait for my phone to reboot. The second airport mistake is arriving at your gate well ahead of your boarding time. While most people think camping out at their gate is the responsible thing to do, it can actually be working against you. Gate agents are tasked with making sure that every carry-on fits on the plane, and when they're looking for bags to gate check, guess whose bag is going to get the most scrutiny? It's the people that have been sitting at the gate right in front of the gate agent for the past 2 hours. This makes you an easy target, and you are likely going to be the one that gets asked to check your suitcase in. Gate agents know that they will typically have to check at least a few bags, and it's often way more efficient for them to flag the early arrivals sitting at the gate with their carry-ons as opposed to trying to gate check bags during the busy boarding process. It is, of course, important to know exactly where your gate is, so you don't end up with a surprise 25-minute walk or needing to take a shuttle bus to get to it. But once I've had a moment to scope out my gate and verify on the flight screen that it is the correct gate and is showing my flight number and the destination, I'll find somewhere nearby to sit. The third airport mistake would be referencing outdated flight information at the airport. We addressed earlier that you can take a screenshot of your boarding pass, but you definitely don't want to rely on that static image for things like up-to-date gate information. You need info that's updated in real time. The easiest way to get up-to-date information on your flight and your gate of departure is to check the flight boards at the airport. If you aren't near a flight board, or you want another method, there's a cool smartphone hack where you simply text yourself the flight number and it will turn into a clickable link that shows you live updates of your flight status, including things like the departure gate and time. Another option is to use your airline's app to get regular updates pushed to your phone. Just remember that both of these methods require an internet connection to work, so if you still have your phone's data plan active, you're good to go. But if you don't, and you need to connect to airport Wi-Fi, make sure you don't make this next mistake of connecting to the public network unprotected. That's where today's video sponsor, NordVPN, comes in. You can think of NordVPN like a secure tunnel for your internet connection. NordVPN is going to encrypt all of your data, making it impossible for hackers to intercept your personal information. Scammers looking to steal your private information, whether that's your passwords or your bank card, will even set up these fake Wi-Fi networks that look like the official airport network. The problem is that once you connect to them, they're able to monitor everything that you're doing. Thankfully, even if you do end up on one of these scam Wi-Fi hotspots, you will still be protected if you have NordVPN on your device and enabled. It gives me the peace of mind knowing that my bank details, passwords, and travel documents are going to be protected, whether I'm on a public network that hundreds of other people are also on, or I'm connected to a scam Wi-Fi hotspot by mistake. You can head to nordvpn.com/Megan to get an exclusive deal when you get set up with NordVPN before your next flight. The fifth mistake is using airport currency exchange services. I understand the peace of mind that comes with having local currency in your pocket before you even land at an international destination. But these currency exchange kiosks are counting on you having that feeling of nervousness, and they're charging you a premium for it. Here's what I do instead. I use my credit card with no foreign transaction fees for most purchases while abroad, and if I need cash, I will wait to withdraw it from an ATM at the airport on arrival at my destination. Despite knowing it's a bit more expensive, many travelers would still prefer the peace of mind of converting some cash at the airport before arriving in a new country. If this is you, here's a quick hack to keep in mind. There's actually a built-in currency converter in your iPhone calculator. Just double-check what a good conversion rate is before agreeing to any exchange so you can make an informed decision on whether or not it's worth it to convert at the airport. Another major airport mistake would be using the duty-free samples before your flight, which is something I used to do all the time. I used to think, wow, there's this $500 face cream just sitting there waiting to be tried and slathered onto my face before this 12-hour flight. Why not spoil myself and use it? And here's why this is actually a terrible idea. First, you have no idea how long that sample has been sitting there or how many people have dipped their fingers in it or pressed down on that pump before you. Second, airports are basically germ festivals, and you definitely don't want to be touching your face after handling security bins, escalator rails, and everything else, including your phone. But the biggest problem would be trying new skincare products right before getting on a plane. You have no idea how your skin might react, and being stuck at 35,000 feet with a sudden allergic reaction or irritation is not the kind of in-flight entertainment you want. The next airport mistake would be letting your phone battery run down before you board the flight. It's so easy to get caught up watching videos or catching up on work while waiting for your flight, only to realize your battery life is at 20% right as boarding begins. This is a big problem since you can't count on having a working power outlet at your seat on the plane. Sometimes the ports are broken, sometimes they're the wrong type like a USB-A instead of a USB-C, and some older planes don't have them at all. Plus, you're definitely going to need your phone when you land for ride apps, hotel info, or directions. So if you are desperate for a charge and all the obvious spots are taken at the airport, a great resource to find charging spots is sleepinginairports.com. It provides a map of all major airports worldwide and shows you exactly where to find everything from outlets to water fountains to lounges. And if you can't be bothered with sites like sleepinginairports.com or your phone is fully dead and you can't even look it up, here's a pro tip. Check behind the vending machines. Outlets are often grouped in sets of 2, so there's usually still going to be one that's unused. So I might look a little sketchy reaching behind the vending machine to plug my phone in, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and when I have a dead phone, my priority number 1 is getting it charged. The 8th mistake is being so preoccupied by whatever the heck was running down your phone battery that you end up tuning out gate announcements. Those airport announcements can be repetitive and sometimes hard to understand, but missing an important one about your flight could mean missing your flight entirely. I learned this lesson in Vietnam when my flight actually took off 1 hour early because everyone else, except for me, was already on board. I was on the phone with my mom when suddenly she said, "Megan, are they calling your name over the announcements?" And now, while the Vietnamese accent did not do my full name any justice, it turns out that yes, they were calling my name and it was for the final boarding call. I sprinted to the gate and was the last person to board the plane, and I swear it took off the moment I sat down. Not to mention, this was also one of the final flights out of Vietnam back in 2020 when you know what was happening. So that could have been extra bad if I missed this flight that departed 1 hour early. And that actually happens more than you would expect. So consider taking your headphones off or keeping the volume at a reasonable level so you can still hear the announcements, especially if you are not sitting with your gate in sight and ready to spot things like when the plane begins boarding or if there is a gate change. The next airport mistake is the polar opposite of missing your flight and instead would be trying to board the plane before your group or your zone number is called. Airlines are getting serious about enforcing boarding zones, and many have actually installed new automated scanning systems that will reject your boarding pass with a loud beep if you try to board early. Not only is this embarrassing, nobody likes to be rejected, but you will also be sent to the back of the boarding line. Wah, wah, wah. If you're not sure about your boarding zone, It's usually printed right on your boarding pass or on your digital pass and will be shown as a number usually between 1 and 10 or as a letter, often between A and D. Also, if you are using the Airline's app, there's usually a feature that sends you a push notification when it's specifically your zone's turn to board. Delta and United Airlines already have this, and other airlines are rolling it out with their app soon. Just make sure you have your notifications turned on if you do plan to rely on this notification. One additional airport mistake would be assuming that you know what to expect at the TSA airport security screening, or assuming that it's going to be the same process, or take the same amount of time, as it did the last time you flew. The airport security experience has a ton of variability built into it by design. This keeps the bad guys on their toes, but it also means that it's never going to be a predictable process for travelers. While TSA is rolling out a ton of automated screening lanes and advanced CT scanners that can detect threats without removing liquids and electronics, these aren't available everywhere yet. And even where these new technologies are available, they might not be operating as intended at the time that you go through airport security. No one wants to be the grumpy George that's arguing with the TSA agent about how last time they didn't have to take their electronics out and they don't understand why this time they do. Or the stressed out Susan that now is spending 1 hour in the security line when it usually takes 20 minutes, but today for some reason only one line is open. Airport security technology and TSA procedures can change daily or even hourly as equipment gets tested, updated, or temporarily taken offline for maintenance. The classic 3-1-1 liquids rule is still very much in effect at most security checkpoints, which means that liquids, gels, aerosols, and pretty much anything that you can pour, spill, spread, or spray must be in containers of 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters or less, all fitting into a single quart-size clear plastic bag with one bag allowed per passenger. So for now, your best bet is to continue to pack your liquids in an easily accessible spot following the 3-1-1 liquid guidelines, being prepared to do things like take off your shoes and your jacket, and then also remove your electronics that are larger than your phone from your bag, including tablets, iPads, and laptops. At the end of the day, packing this way means that you'll be prepared regardless of what the TSA security screening process is like at the time that you go through the checkpoint. Listen carefully to TSA agent instructions, and if they say everything can stay in your bag, great. If these new CT scanners, digital ID, self-screening lanes, and automated screening lanes are news to you, you'll definitely want to check out my recent video covering all of these emerging technologies rolling out at airports across the US. I'll link it for you in the video description and put it up for you on the screen now to watch next. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel tips and hacks each week, and I will see you in that next video soon. Bye.